Pastor Eric Shafer, Senior Pastor here at Mount Olive Lutheran Church in Santa Monica, California. And this is Hope Matters. Hope Matters is our weekly program when we talk to interesting people from our community around the U.S. and even around the world about the theme of hope, because we believe hope matters. Our guest today is Tara Barauskas, who is the Executive Director of Community Corp of Santa Monica and also serves with me on the Santa Monica Bay Area Human Relations Council. And has become a friend of mine over the past few years as we've gotten in trouble together, as we were just talking about beforehand. And Tara, some of our viewers don't know anything about Community Corp, so please give us Community Corp 101.
Sure, great. And thank you, Pastor Shafer, for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation with you today. Community Corp is a nonprofit that was formed in 1982 by community leaders who were worried about gentrification happening in Santa Monica and decided to figure out how to solve that problem. And they did so by advocating to create our nonprofit. So it's a very, it's a great story in terms of how, just a small group of people can create big change. Since, our formation, we've developed over 1,800 affordable homes here in Santa Monica in close to 100 buildings. So yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
Pretty impressive. And so I know you and I have talked about the challenges, but share with me some of the satisfactions for this work that you have.
Oh, every day is satisfying. Affordable housing has been my whole career, and it's certainly more of a calling or a lifestyle, I think, because it is really challenging. So you have to be really committed to it. But yeah, the rewards are really in talking to people who tell you a story about how affordable housing has changed their lives for the better. One story was a woman who said she could see her future. She was raising kids and she could imagine that all the great schools in Santa Monica, the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school that her kids would go to, and then they would be off to college. And it's so gratifying to know that we can help people, improve their life circumstances.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I know you have several new facilities opening in the next few months and a couple on the table coming. If someone is in need of affordable housing, how do they link into your operation?
Yes, we are finishing construction on 2 of our properties this month. And right now, all of the affordable housing can be applied for anytime online through the city's website, which is smgov.net. You can go to the housing division, and it's called the below market housing waiting list. And so it's a one-stop shop now, so it should be easier for people to apply. And then basically people will get matched to any vacant units that are available.
Is there a super long waiting list? I know some people have gotten discouraged in the past over what seems to take years.
There is a long waiting list, and obviously there's a lot of high demand for housing that's actually affordable in Santa Monica because so much of it isn't. But I would encourage people to always apply because there's no way you can get our housing if you're not on the list. And now there is a real strict priority for people who live or work here. They go to the top of the list. So if you're in that situation, I think your chances are very good to at least be offered a unit.
And do the elderly and the handicapped get some preference also?
Well, seniors will get preference at our Greenway Meadows building on 14th Street near Pico because that is a seniors building. But typically the people who jump to the top of the list, anybody who's being evicted against their will, via the Ellis Act provisions or, forcibly basically losing their housing by no fault of their own, they actually jump our entire waiting list.
Wonderful. Well, our theme in these programs, in these interviews, are hope, and you and I have talked a little bit about this offline. So what gives you hope in your life, in your work, in 2020, which is a tough year to be hopeful in? What's your reaction to hope in these times?
Oh gosh, so much. I think sometimes through the darkest days and the biggest challenges, that's where the real opportunity for hope is. When the pandemic first started, I think everybody was sort of in a state of chaos. We didn't understand what was happening, certainly hadn't lived through something like this before, and trying to get a handle on everything. And the first thing that I noticed is that our residents, who are all people who are low income people who have a lot of financial challenges, many of them have had either disabilities, bad circumstances that they're trying to remedy in their lives. And they were the first ones to step up and say, what can we do to help our other fellow neighbors? So even though they have their own set of really challenging circumstances, they went out of their way, leaving their families to go deliver things like toilet paper and hand sanitizer, which were very hard to find at the beginning. They helped at our food pantries. They make deliveries to some of our seniors who can't, who have mobility challenges. So I think for me, it was just totally amazing to see that people can rise out of their own challenges so quickly to help others. And I thought that was so beautiful. Another story was, some of our residents who actually gave their, those, the checks that we got, the stimulus checks, they just gave them to us and said, give it to other people. We don't need it.
Wow.
I mean, and these are people who are low income, right? I mean, it was totally amazing. So we've set up a food pantry, and we've used those funds to basically buy food and give out free food to people. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Well, that belies a secret that you and I know, that the most generous people aren't necessarily the richest people.
Absolutely. And somehow when you don't feel like you have more to give, you still do. That's one thing I love about my work, is that, even when things are hard, you get gratified so quickly and easily. It's kind of like childbirth. You forget the pain and then you keep going. And, certainly in my own life as well, I've, had my own set of challenges, and that's when you find beauty, because you find that strength within yourself and you can come out of it better and stronger.
Okay. Well, I think we've certainly approached the subject, haven't we? And what else is there you'd like to share with people that are viewing this, about your work or your life, or anything that is important that you would like to share?
Well, I think one thing I've been thinking a lot about in 2020 is just the mentality that I think has gotten to us, to some of these circumstances that we're in, of me versus we. And I know this has happened a lot, in conversations about the elections, but also the pandemic. So I think it's really front and center in my mind. And certainly some of the stories I've shared with you have really outlined how people have embraced the concept of we and forgotten about me for a moment. And I really hope people will be inspired to think about ways that they can do that. I think there's no more important time than right now to focus on we. And in 2021, we have a real opportunity to band together to, eradicate this enemy, which is the pandemic that has really touched the entire world. And it's only by coming together, whether it's in your understanding, whether it's in taking the vaccine, whether it's accepting new leadership with its strengths and weaknesses. I'm really hopeful that 2021 is going to bring more of that sense of we.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, and for our viewers, we're recording this at the end of 2020. When you see this, it'll be 2021. So together, let's make it the year of we, 2021. Thanks for being with us, Tara, today. I'm so grateful that you took the time for this interview.
Thanks for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
This is Hope Matters. This is a production of Mount Olive Lutheran Church, where we talk to interesting people about the theme of hope, because we believe that hope matters, and we believe we have a God of hope. See you again next week. Thank you.